I like to be clear on your sections for your 90-degree haircut. You're going to have 5 quadrants. You're going to have your bottom quadrant, which is quadrant 1. Your second quadrant is quadrant 2. Your center quadrant is quadrant 3. And then you have your right and left quadrant, which are quadrants 4 and 5. Please be sure to use your butterfly clips and not your claw clips. Your butterfly clips are going to ensure that those quadrants are nice and tight and that your hair is controlled. Here are your 5 sections. This is your starting foundation for your 90-degree haircut. Once all your quadrants are in place, you start with making sure that the hair is uniformly wet or dry. Use your water bottle. You're going to always section a 1/2 inch sections at a time or less. If you lose your guide, back up and find your guide. Do not continue to cut if you lose your guide. You're going to drop down a 1/2 inch horizontal section from quadrant 1. You're going to reclip it. Then you're going to go in with your all-purpose comb. And with your all-purpose comb, you're going to be combing from scalp to end. You're going to always start in the very center. For a beginner's haircut, I want you to start in the very center with the haircut. You're going to comb the hair from the very center down. And then you're going to take that razor and you're going to place it right in front of or on top of your fingers. It's going to be an overcutting razor technique when you cut your guide. Make sure you don't elevate the guide out like this. The guide needs to be lower, close to the neck. It needs to be at 0 with 0 elevation. Comb from scalp to end. Place the razor right on top of your fingers and you're going to cut. Now don't forget, your guide for a razor is a little bit different. You have to slide your fingers, and when that hair begins to fall, you're going to cut on top of your fingers. Make sure you are really squeezing your fingers and you're having good finger dexterity or finger strength. Comb from scalp to end. Place your finger between your thumb. Bring the hair close to the neck. When that hair falls, you're going to cut. Now that your guide is established, now your very next subsection, that next 1/2 inch subsection is going to now start your elevation. So your guide is always cut at 0. We have to establish a guide, which tells us how much hair to cut off. Once that guide is established, now we can start with our elevation. So now we're going to drop a 1/2 inch guide, secure the hair that we're not cutting, come to the very center. Make sure we're sectioning. Don't just comb and cut. You're going to section vertical. Make sure that you're sectioning vertical and not horizontal, because horizontal lines just add weight. And right now we don't want weight. So you're going to section vertical, comb from scalp to end. You're going to do a palm to palm technique, which means your palm is facing you. And then you're going to cross over. When that hair falls, you're going to cross over with your razor and you're going to cut. And I'm going to show you from different angles so that you can see. You're going to continue to move. You're going to have a traveling guide, not a stationary guide. So your guide is going to continue to travel. That guide hair, don't forget, is coming from the bottom. When that bottom hair drops, you're going to cut. Continue to section in 1/2 inch areas. You're going to comb on the side. So you're going to cross over and comb. You're not going to be combing on the right-hand side. You're going to be combing on the left-hand side. When that hair falls, you're going to cross over and cut. Continue the process until that entire section is cut from the left side, then to the right side. All right, we're going back to the center, finding our guide again, and we're going to continue to travel to the right-hand side. If there's no hair to cut, do not force yourself to cut. Make sure your guard is facing your finger. The only way the guard is going to be different on that basic razor is if you are left-handed. If you're left-handed, the guard should not be facing the pivot or the screw. If you're right-handed, the guard should be facing the pivot or the screw. Make sure your guard is on correctly. If you're not sure how your guard should be on your razor, see your instructor. If you cut yourself, stop cutting immediately and follow your blood exposure procedures. You should have a first aid kit out when you set up. You should have a first aid kit out on your station, your towel, your razor, your all-purpose comb, and your hair cutting shears, and your butterfly clips. You should have 5 butterfly clips. That's your setup. Then as far as your draping, I'm not draped here because I want you to be able to see all of the angles. But for hair cutting, you're going to always drape. You should have a neck strip and a cape for dry services, and a towel and a cape for wet services or wet haircuts. Because haircuts are done wet and dry, but because this is a wet haircut, you should have a towel and a cape. If you have dark hair, you want to use a white towel. If you have light hair, you want to use a dark towel. That helps you see the placement of the hair better. Now, once you cut your guide, you can move the head around. The head does not have to stay erect. So once you cut your guide, you can push the head down. But when you're cutting your guide, the head has to be straight up or erect. Watch the angle. Look at how it changes. Every area of the head, and the more you travel up the head, the angle will change.